The Titanes Peace Dome stood like a sleeping giant in the center of neutral space, a silver sphere larger than most planets' capital cities. For 3 centuries, it had been known as the safest place in the galaxy. No weapons allowed. No armies allowed. No shields, no drones, no secret tech. Only truth, diplomacy, and calm words. But today, something felt different. Something breathed under the walls, like the dome itself knew danger was approaching. Across the main hall, thousands of alien leaders gathered. Scaled faces, metallic faces, crystal faces, shadow faces. Each species watching each other with fake smiles and hidden fear. They had signed the peace treaty, but everyone knew it was only paper with pretty words. Behind the curtains, power still talked louder. Every empire wanted control. Every empire wanted to expand. Every empire wanted the threat called humanity to disappear. For 300 years, humans had been peaceful. Too peaceful. They built cities, alliances, research stations, medicine labs. They helped weak civilizations survive. They rescued dying planets. They shared knowledge without asking anything in return. And the galaxy hated that, because power built on kindness was the kind of power they could not predict. Humanity grew stronger with every century. Their ships became faster. Their soldiers became smarter. Their technology became impossible to understand. Rumors spread humans were hiding something. A secret fleet. A secret weapon. A secret plan. Even if nobody knew the truth, the fear kept growing. And fear always leads to betrayal. That is why the Titanes Peace Treaty was organized. A fake invitation. Polite trap. A moment where all alien empires could stand together and remove humanity forever. The dome's inner walls were filled with hidden weapons disguised as lights. The floor panels contained stun fields strong enough to kill an elephant from Earth. Behind the stage, 10,000 elite alien soldiers waited in silence, ready to strike on a secret signal. Today was supposed to be the last day humans ever walked in this galaxy. At least that's what the aliens believed. But then the dome lights flickered. A signal announced the final delegation's arrival. The humans. Every alien neck stretched toward the landing bay. For a moment, only silence existed. Then the giant doors opened, and the human transport ship entered, slow, massive, and darker than any ship that had ever come to Titanes. It didn't glow. It didn't show normal human colors. It didn't broadcast friendly messages. It just floated in with a cold, heavy silence that wrapped around every alien heart like chains. The ship touched down with a low vibration. A strange tension filled the hall, thick as fog. The ship was too large for a peace meeting. Too armored. Too alive. The hull looked like it was breathing. The alien leaders whispered nervously. Why is their ship so heavy? Why is it black? Why is it silent? Why do humans arrive late to their own treaty? Have they brought an army? Fear tasted like metal in the air. The ramp opened with a slow hiss. Human Marines stepped out first, tall, disciplined, walking in sync. Their armor was not ceremonial or peaceful. It was battle-ready. Strong plates, dark colors, glowing lines running through the design like veins of energy. Helmets shaped to hide emotion. Behind them came more soldiers. And more. And more. Until the entire hall realized something terrifying. Humanity had brought more armored troops than any species had ever brought to Titanes before. Rules meant nothing today. Humans had broken every law of the Peace Dome just by stepping in. Alien commanders felt their stomach twist. They whispered again. Why are they wearing combat suits? Why do they look ready for war? Where are their diplomats? Where are their leaders? Even the bravest races felt small. The humans kept walking as one unit, like a silent wave moving through the hall. No sound, no hesitation, no fear. They looked like they already knew something the aliens didn't. Finally, the last figure stepped out of the ship, the human commander. Commander Renvale. Tall, calm, eyes like a quiet storm ready to break. He didn't smile. He didn't wave. He didn't pretend. He just walked forward, his boots echoing through the dome like warning bells. Every alien felt that echo in their bones. The human delegation reached the central table. The alien coalition members stared, pretending to be polite, but their hands shook under the table. The peace treaty was ready. The pens were ready. The speech crystals were ready. Everything was ready for the perfect trap. But something felt wrong. Too wrong. Humanity stood too straight, too silent, too confident. They weren't acting like guests walking into a trap. They were acting like hunters walking into a forest they had already mapped. Then it happened. The dome lights flickered, then flickered again, then died. Darkness swallowed the hall. Alien hearts raced. Fear spread through the crowd like a wave. The dome's emergency lights refused to turn on. The air system slowed. The temperature dropped. Panic rose. What is happening? This isn't part of the plan. Why are our devices not responding? Suddenly, every alien communication badge blinked red. Every scanner died. Every hidden weapon in the wall shut off. Every soldier in the shadows lost power in their armor. Then came the sound. Clang. The dome doors locked themselves. Thick metal slamming into place like prison bars. No escape. No rescue. No signal. It felt like the dome had turned into a coffin. A hidden signal jammed every alien device. Their ships outside lost communication. Their troops outside were blind. Their security inside was useless. Every alien empire realized something horrifying at the same time. This was no longer their trap. Something else was happening. The Vrax Prime, leader of the largest alien empire, tried to speak, but his voice cracked. This wasn't supposed to happen. Another alien leader shouted, "Our plan is compromised." Who activated the dome lockdown? The crowd turned to look at the humans. That's when they saw it. Commander Renvale was smiling. Calm, controlled smile. A smile of someone who already knew everything. A smile of someone who had walked into a trap knowingly. A smile that said, "You think you planned this?" "No, we planned this." Panic exploded in the hall. Alien leaders stood up. Some tried to run. Some tried to shout commands to soldiers who could no longer hear them. Some simply froze in shock, unable to believe what was unfolding. But the humans didn't move from their position. They stood still, silent, watching, as if they were waiting for someone to make the first stupid move. Commander Ren took one step forward. That single step echoed like thunder. "Sit down," he said quietly. No shout, no scream, just a simple, calm command. But the entire hall obeyed. Every alien froze in place. Every leader slowly returned to their seat. Something about the human commander's voice carried weight, like gravity itself was listening to him. Ren looked around the hall, meeting the eyes of every species. Then he spoke again with the same calm, simple English that cut deeper than any weapon. "You planned to remove humanity today." Every alien face went pale. "But we already knew." Silence. "We came prepared." A deeper silence. "And we didn't come alone." At that exact moment, the dome walls began to change. The silver metal surface rippled like liquid. Lines of blue and white energy crawled across the walls like living veins. Panels opened. Hidden human drones detached from their armor, rising silently into the air like black hummingbirds armed with invisible blades. Aliens looked around with horror. This wasn't just a human delegation. It was a human operation. A counter-trap. Perfect reversal. And it had only just begun. The moment the dome walls shifted into those living blue lines, the entire gathering felt the truth settling over them like cold fog. This place was no longer a peace dome. It had turned into something else. Something controlled. Something human. The alien leaders tried to speak, but their voices were swallowed by the humming energy crawling through the walls. Their own security systems were dead. Their hidden weapons were dead. Their soldiers were blind. Their treaty plans, the perfect, flawless trap they believed would end humanity, lay shattered before their eyes. And the humans hadn't even drawn a single weapon. Commander Ren stood at the center of the hall like a quiet storm with its eyes open. He didn't look angry. He didn't look scared. He just watched the alien panic with a steady, calculating calm. The calm of a man who had waited for this exact moment. The calm of someone who had seen betrayal coming from galaxies away. Behind him, the human marines didn't move, but their armor shifted with soft clicks. Shields preparing, sensors locking, weapons deep inside their suits awakening like sleeping beasts. A Vrax officer finally found his voice. "This is impossible. The dome blocks all outside tech. No one can control it from inside." Ren didn't even turn toward him. "You're right," he said softly. "No one can." The aliens blinked, confused. Then the human commander added, "Unless someone rewrote the dome systems before arriving." A wave of fear crashed through the alien ranks. Someone whispered, voice trembling, "You hacked the peace dome?" Ren's eyes met theirs. "We don't hack. We anticipate." A heavy silence followed, one that pressed on every alien chest. They realized something far worse than hacking had happened. Humanity had known about this trap from the beginning. They had known about the fake treaty, the plan to wipe them out, the hidden weapons. And instead of avoiding it, they walked into it willingly. That meant humans weren't here to negotiate. They were here to expose, completely, publicly, mercilessly. The Vrax Prime slammed his claws on the table. "Enough! Activate the soldiers!" he shouted. But his command badge stayed red. No signal, no power. The soldiers hidden behind the dome walls stood frozen like statues. Their weapons flickered uselessly. The Vrax Prime breathed heavily. Why is nothing responding?" Ren finally turned toward him. "Because your weapons don't belong to you anymore." He raised his wrist. A subtle ripple moved across the hall. Every alien felt their throat tighten. The dome responded to the human commander. Panels shifting, lights pulsing, energy lines brightening. The peace dome now obeyed humanity. Another alien leader stood, trembling with pride and fear. You can't do this. This hall has protected every species for centuries. You can't just take it." Ren stepped closer, his footsteps slow and deliberate, like a judge walking toward a guilty man. "We didn't take it," he answered. "You lost it." The words hit every alien like a punch. Whether they were made of flesh, metal, or crystal, all felt the same sting. The sting of losing control. The sting of realizing that their carefully crafted ambush was now nothing but a broken toy in human hands. The hall lights flickered again, but now they flickered in a pattern. Each flash synchronized with the heartbeat-like thrum of the human transport ship outside. The dome was sinking with the ship. The humans had turned a neutral sanctuary into a battlefield where only one species held the high ground. A young alien delegate whispered, shaking violently, "What do they want? Why would humans walk willingly into a trap?" An older alien answered, voice breaking, "Because they knew something we didn't." Another whispered, "What?" The older alien shook his head. "They knew. We were never ready for them." Commander Ren stopped at the edge of the central table. All alien eyes watched him with dread. "You planned to trap us," he said quietly. "But you forgot one thing." He raised his wrist. The dome lockdown deepened. Seals tightening, metal shifting, barriers falling into place like puzzle pieces snapping shut. Ren's voice dropped lower. "Humans don't walk into traps." A pause. "They walk into opportunities." The panic inside the hall grew louder, but fear made every movement slow, every breath heavy. The alien leaders tried to stand again but froze when the human marines shifted their stances. Just a small movement, just a fraction of a step, but powerful enough to silence the room. Not through force, through presence, through quiet power. Then came the worst sound of all. A low, vibrating hum. It came from inside the human marine suits. Armor plates rotated. Energy lines brightened. The sound grew deeper, heavier, almost like a heartbeat. The Marines didn't raise any weapons. They didn't need to. The sound alone warned the entire hall. If you try to attack, you will not survive the next second. An alien leader with crystal skin fell to his knees. "We had no choice," he cried. "Your species grows too fast, too strong. If we didn't stop you now, you would eventually be unstoppable." Ren walked in front of him, expression unreadable. "You fear our strength?" The leader nodded desperately. Ren leaned closer. "Then you should have feared our preparation." One sentence, one truth, One reminder that humanity didn't survive by accident. They survived because every generation learned from the last. Another alien shouted, voice filled with desperate anger. If you knew about the trap, why did you come? Why risk your people? Commander Wren didn't blink. Because we wanted you to reveal yourselves. In one room, under one roof, with no escape. Every alien froze. Humanity came here not to defend themselves, but to expose the enemy, to gather the entire traitor coalition in one place, to cut the root of the coming war before it even began. It was not just brilliant, it was terrifying. Wren continued, your plan wasn't just a betrayal, it was an act of war. A wave of whispers filled the air. But we gave you a chance, Wren said. We wanted to see if any of you would choose peace. He looked around slowly. None of you did. The dome walls suddenly projected holographic screens, revealing intercepted alien messages. Plans, charts, weapon shipments, timelines for the destruction of Earth. Images of fleets waiting near the human border. Every alien saw their own empire's secrets exposed in front of thousands. A collective silence spread, heavy and suffocating. Wren's voice sharpened. You didn't just plan to kill us in this dome. You planned to burn our home. He exhaled. And for that, there will be consequences. The alien leaders trembled, not just from fear of death, but from fear of the unknown. Humanity never threatened lightly. They never spoke without meaning it. They never acted without planning. They were facing a species that survived everything. The betrayal, the lockdown, the ambush, but the worst part was still ahead. The humans hadn't revealed their real move yet. Commander Wren turned toward the main doors. He raised his wrist one last time. The dome roof slowly opened. Every alien lifted their eyes. Outside, floating silently in perfect formation, blocking out half the stars of the sky, a hidden human fleet waited, dark, silent, weapons fully charged, close enough to fire at a single command. The aliens had never seen these ships before, because they weren't in any database. They weren't registered. They weren't supposed to exist. And yet, here they were. Wren's voice echoed like a hammer. Now you understand why we came. The alien hall was no longer a place of diplomacy. It felt like the inside of a giant throat, tightening around everyone except the humans. Every alien face reflected the same terror, the kind that strips away pride and leaves only raw survival instinct. The council chamber, once filled with arrogant confidence, now looked like a funeral gathering, a funeral they suddenly realized might be their own. As the roof panels fully opened, the alien leaders stared up at the sky with hopeless, shaking eyes. The stars, once bright and endless, were drowned out by the black silhouettes of human warships. They moved like beasts made of shadow and steel, silent hunters that didn't need to roar to show power. Massive cannons lined their sides. Drones hovered like metal vultures waiting for a command. Not a single human ship flickered or trembled. They stood frozen in perfect discipline, a wall of darkness surrounding the dome. One alien leader whispered, barely able to breathe, This is impossible. They were never supposed to have ships like these. A second whispered, they were never supposed to know about our trap. A third whispered, what else have they been hiding? Commander Wren didn't smile this time. His face stayed calm, unreadable. You all believed humans were naive, slow, too peaceful to understand the games you played. His voice felt like cold hands gripping every alien throat. But humans learn faster than any species in this galaxy. The blue energy lines on the dome walls pulsed again, matching the rhythm of Wren's words like the structure itself had become an extension of human will. Wren stepped forward, his footsteps echoing like distant thunder. For decades, you sent spies into our borders. You sent false diplomats. You sent trade delegations filled with scanning tech. You tried to measure us, count us, predict us. He paused. But you all made the same mistake. His eyes hardened like stone. You assumed humans would not do the same to you. A hologram flashed into the center of the room. Not alien messages this time. Human intelligence logs. For years, no, decades, human intelligence had been inside the alien coalition. Watching, tracking, recording, waiting. Every betrayal, every whispered meeting, every plan, every attempt to sabotage human progress. All captured, all stored, all known. Gasps filled the hall. Impossible. They pierced our encryption? They monitored our private planetary feeds. How? Some aliens fell back in their seats, unable to look at the proof of their own carelessness. For the first time, they understood something terrifying. Humans didn't outfight them. Humans outthought them. The Vrax Prime slammed his claws onto the table so hard that cracks formed. Why didn't you reveal this before? Why wait until now? Ren answered without blinking. Because we wanted to see which of you would choose war. He stepped closer to the Vrax Prime. And now we know. Shame rippled through the alien ranks. But shame quickly shifted to deeper fear when the dome floor rumbled softly. Human drones descended from the ceiling, thousands of them. Not big, not armored like the Marines, but silent, perfectly controlled. Lights dim and red, like eyes watching prey from the darkness. The drones spread out, forming rings around the alien leaders. None of them fired. They didn't have to. The message was clear. You cannot run. You cannot hide. You cannot win. A small alien delegate, barely the height of a human child, trembled where she stood. Her voice broke as she whispered, "Why didn't you just confront us earlier? Why come into danger? Why take this risk?" Ren's expression softened, but the softness carried weight. "Because humanity still hoped there was good left in you," he said. "We hoped someone would choose truth. But hope can't protect forever." The small alien covered her face and cried soft, shaking tears that echoed the fear of thousands across the hall. Because now they understood something even more painful. Humanity didn't want to destroy them. Humanity wanted to believe in them, and they had betrayed that belief. Suddenly, the dome's entire lighting shifted, turning from blue to deep white. A harsh, sterile glow filled the hall. The humans stood still like statues cut from iron. Then Ren lifted his arm again. His wristband pulsed. Every human marine activated full armor protocols. Their helmets sealed. Their visors glowed. Their suits expanded slightly, locking into high combat mode. Aliens flinched back. It's happening. They're preparing to attack. They're going to execute us all. But Ren raised a hand, stopping the panic. "No," he said. "We did not come to kill you." That one line confused the entire hall. Ren slowly walked back to the center. "If we wanted war, your fleets outside would already be gone. Your soldiers would never wake up. Your empires would see fire before sunrise." A cold wave of truth swept across the room. The aliens felt sick. He continued, "No. We came here to do something more important." Silence wrapped tighter around them. "To show you what humanity really is." A hush fell. Not fear. Not shock. Something deeper. Something ancient. Something instinctive, like a young predator finally seeing the adult that raised it. Ren activated another hologram. This time it showed the one thing no alien expected. Human casualties. Ships lost. Colonies attacked. People killed in sabotage operations ordered by the very aliens sitting in the room. Email logs. Orders signed. Footage of human children hiding in shelters during border raids. The aliens felt their hearts crack. They knew they were guilty, but they didn't know humans had suffered this much. The hall trembled with a different kind of fear now. Fear of what their own actions had awakened. Ren's voice grew quiet, almost gentle, but that gentleness hit harder than any threat. "We counted every life you tried to steal from us. We carried every loss. We buried every name." He looked at them, eyes heavy but resolute. "And still, we came to you in peace." A long breath passed through the hall, something between sorrow and shame. Then Ren straightened. "But peace is a two-way road." He gestured at the dome. "You tried to close it, so we opened another path." The alien leaders swallowed hard. What path?" someone whispered. Ren stepped back. His armor lights dimmed. His voice dropped low and cold. The path where you finally learn what happens when you force humanity to stop being peaceful. The dome doors behind the humans suddenly unlocked with a heavy thud. A blinding light shone from the corridor, and the silhouettes of more human soldiers began to appear. Not hundreds, not thousands, tens of thousands, all silent, all armed, all ready. The alien coalition understood the truth. The Peace Dome wasn't humanity's prison. It was humanity's stage. And the counterstrike was only beginning. The alien leaders felt the air leave their lungs as the silhouettes of tens of thousands of human soldiers filled the doorway behind Commander Wren. Their boots didn't make a sound. Their armor didn't shake. Their weapons didn't glow with wild energy. They were silent, controlled, disciplined, and terrifying because of that silence. It felt like watching a wall of storms marching toward the heart of the galaxy. The Peace Dome, once the safest place in existence, now felt like an egg held gently in human hands. And every alien knew that if humanity wanted, they could crush it without effort. But the human soldiers didn't step forward. They didn't raise their guns. They just stood there, forming an endless line of black armor and glowing visors, like a living warning, a reminder, a message no species wanted to hear. Wren stood in front of them, armor absorbing the dome's white light like a star wrapped in shadow. His voice broke the heavy silence. This is not a show of power, yet every alien felt it as power. Overwhelming, suffocating power. Wren raised one hand, a simple gesture, but every soldier behind him responded instantly. Armor shifting, plates sliding, weapons unlocking with soft, deadly clicks. Their suits didn't look like metal anymore. They looked like something alive, something that evolved for war, not built for it. One alien leader choked on his breath. What are those? What kind of armor is that? Wren didn't turn. Adaptive warfare suits. Silent class. A few aliens squinted, confused. Humans never publicly displayed silent class armor. They weren't supposed to exist. They were only rumors. Ghost technology. A whisper told in military circles. But here they were. Fully operational. Thousands of them. Wren allowed them a moment to feel the scale of their mistake. Then he spoke again, voice calm but sharp. For years, you believed we hid behind diplomacy because we were weak. But the truth is simple. He stepped forward, and the ground felt like it trembled under his boots. We have stayed peaceful because we chose to. His voice hardened. Not because we were forced to. The alien coalition felt their hearts collapse. A scaled commander of the SLYR Empire shouted, fury mixing with fear, "Human, you brought a full army to a peace meeting." Wren didn't blink. "And you brought weapons hidden in the walls. You brought soldiers disguised as assistants. You brought assassins with cloaking implants." He gestured around the hall. "You turned this dome into a trap. We turned it into a mirror." The SLYR commander hissed, "Then what do you want from us?" Wren finally turned his gaze toward him. "Truth." Every alien stiffened. The word hung like a blade above their heads. Without warning, Wren tapped his wristband. The dome changed. Lights dimmed. Walls shifted. And then a hologram expanded across the entire ceiling. It wasn't human intelligence reports. It wasn't intercepted messages. It was something much worse. Human memories. Real footage. Real recordings. Real pain. The first image showed a human colony attacked in secret by alien forces. Bombs falling on houses. Smoke covering the sky. Small children running, crying, searching for their parents. The aliens stared in horror. They had seen war. They had caused war. But they had never seen humans show their wounds. Humans didn't display their suffering. Humans didn't beg. Humans didn't cry to their enemies. But today they let the galaxy see it. Another video appeared, this time of a human hospital ship destroyed while carrying refugees. Another, showing an Earth convoy ambushed near a neutral gate. Another, human scientists killed during a peace research mission. Another, human civilians kneeling while alien soldiers mocked them. The dome became a graveyard of truth, a museum of betrayal, a place where every species saw the cost of their actions. Some aliens covered their faces. Some fell to their knees. Some quietly whispered, "We didn't know it was this bad." But they did know. Deep inside, they had always known. They didn't know details, but they knew harm was done in the dark. Their governments ordered it. Their commanders executed it. Their soldiers carried it out. They just never thought humans would discover everything. Ren let them drown in truth for a moment. Then he lowered his hand. The hologram vanished. The dome grew silent again. No anger, no shouting, just quiet humiliation. Then Ren spoke, softer this time. Not threatening, not mocking, just painfully honest. "You didn't betray us because we were dangerous. You betrayed us because you feared what we could become." He stepped closer to the center of the table. "And fear makes even strong empires stupid." A wave of shame washed over the hall. One alien queen finally broke the silence. Her voice trembled. "Human commander, if you have all this power, why don't you destroy us?" Ren looked at her, and for the first time, there was emotion in his eyes, an emotion no alien expected. Sadness. "We don't want a galaxy of corpses," he said. "We want a galaxy with balance, with justice, with peace." The aliens stared. It didn't make sense. Humans had the upper hand. Humans could crush everyone. Humans could erase entire fleets in seconds. And yet, not an inch of aggression came from them. That made humans even more terrifying. The queen whispered, "Then what is this? What are you showing us?" Ren's voice turned cold again. "The last warning humanity will ever give." The lights shifted. The soldiers behind Ren all lifted their weapons. Not aimed at the aliens, but aimed upward toward the open sky. Every alien held their breath. "What are you doing?" someone whispered in terror. Ren closed his fist. Instantly, the human fleet outside activated. All ships shifted into formation. Cannons glowing. Engines burning cold white. Drones forming deadly spirals. But they didn't fire. They were demonstrating. Showing the galaxy a truth more frightening than war. Humanity didn't need to shoot to win. They only needed to show what they were capable of. Ren lowered his hand. The ships powered down. The Marines retracted their weapons. He exhaled slowly. "Now you understand what we brought to the treaty." A pause. "And why your trap didn't work." The aliens stared at him in stunned silence. Ren gave the final wound. "You spent years preparing to attack us." His voice grew darker. "We spent years preparing to forgive you." That line hit harder than any weapon. Forgiveness was the one thing the aliens never expected. Because forgiveness required strength. Real strength. Unbreakable strength. The kind of strength humans never needed to prove, only reveal. The peace dome felt smaller now. Not because the humans moved forward, but because every alien leader finally understood the size of the lie they had lived in. For years they convinced themselves humanity was manageable, soft, hopeful, predictable. But now they stood inside a hall surrounded by human intelligence, human technology, human fleets, and human soldiers, all woven into a perfect counter-ambush. Not a single human fired a weapon. Not a single human raised their voice. And yet the aliens felt more defeated than in any battlefield in history. Commander Ren stood still, letting the weight of everything sink into their bones. His voice entered the silence like a blade dipped in calm fire. "You think we're here to punish you, but this is not punishment." His eyes scanned the room. "This is revelation." The walls responded to his words. The dome shifted again. New holograms unfolded. Slower, heavier, darker. This time the screens displayed the alien coalition's true plan. Secret meetings, dark rooms, hushed voices, maps of Earth circled in red, timelines showing coordinated attacks. A document titled, Operation Last Sunrise, Exterminate Humanity Before 2230. The hall froze. Several alien leaders gasped. Some shook violently. Some covered their mouths. Some looked away in shame. Ren continued, voice soft but terrifying in its certainty. "You didn't create this treaty to negotiate peace." He stepped forward. "You created it to end us." One alien leader tried to stand, tried to object, tried to pretend he wasn't involved. Ren raised a hand. The dome darkened. A hologram highlighted that same alien signing a secret approval message for Operation Last Sunrise. He collapsed back into his seat. The truth had teeth. Another hologram appeared. Fast. Unfiltered. Alien labs studying human biology to design targeted plagues. Alien warships practicing orbital bombardment on holographic Earth. Alien generals promising their followers, when humanity falls, the galaxy will finally be ours. Ren let them watch every second. Every ugly second. Every hateful second. He waited until the hall sounded like a graveyard. Quiet, cold, filled with regret and horror. Then he snapped his fingers. The holograms vanished. What replaced them was worse. A single, simple image. A map. The galaxy map. Almost every alien empire's territory was highlighted. But not in aggression. In fear. Because the highlighted zones were places where humans had placed secret observation nets. The aliens looked at the markings and felt their stomachs twist. Those nets had been active for decades. Watching everything. Tracking everything. Recording everything. Humanity hadn't been blind. They had known every move in advance. Every secret message. Every hidden weapon. Every fleet formation. Every conspiracy. A trembling alien whispered, How did you place so many nets, without us knowing? Ren looked at him. Because while you prepared to betray us. He touched the galaxy map. We prepared to survive you. The room went dead silent. Then Ren's voice lowered. He didn't shout. He didn't accuse. His calm hurt more than any scream. Your councils believed we were easy prey. Peaceful target. A species that would die quietly. His eyes sharpened. But humans don't die quietly. A pause. They rise quietly. The words slid into every alien's spine like ice. Ren turned around and walked toward the central podium. The human soldiers behind him moved, not aggressively, but with coordinated precision. Protecting him, surrounding him, synchronizing like living gears. The aliens felt their own insignificance. Because they weren't facing soldiers. They were facing a civilization ready for anything. Ren pressed his wristband again. A soft hum spread across the hall. New holograms rose, this time showing Earth. Not burning, not weak, not trembling, but prepared. Millions of human citizens training in civil defense programs. Children learning emergency drills in school. Factories producing anti-fleet technology. Giant shield platforms around Earth's orbit. Secret colonies fortified with energy barriers. Advanced weapons not designed for conquest but for survival. The aliens stared with rising dread. They had seen human firepower, but they had never seen human resilience. Earth wasn't waiting to be saved. Earth was waiting to fight. Ren spoke again. You wanted to erase us quietly. You wanted to remove the only species that refused to kneel. He stepped closer. But you forgot something. He lifted his eyes to the alien leaders. You forgot humans come from storms. The hall felt that, deeply, because humans didn't evolve in comfort. They evolved in fire, hunger, cold, struggle. They learned survival in their bones. They carried history inside their blood. Wars, tragedies, victories, endurance. Ren continued, each word heavy as gravity. We didn't rise because we were strong. He shook his head. We rose because we refused to disappear. An alien chancellor wiped tears from his 4 eyes. Human commander, you knew all this time that the treaty was a trap? And you still came? Ren nodded. Yes. The queen asked with a trembling voice. Why? Why walk right into death? Ren stepped back toward his soldiers. His answer detonated in their hearts. Because we needed to see who among you was willing to kill us, and who among you was worth saving. Gasps, cries, shaking hands, pounding hearts. Aliens had not expected mercy, not after everything they had done. Yet here stood a human commander, not claiming vengeance, not demanding blood, but searching for justice, not extinction. And that terrified them more than any weapon. Because an enemy seeking war is predictable. But an enemy seeking truth? That enemy becomes unstoppable. Ren's voice grew colder. You all thought this treaty was your trap. He turned around slowly. It was ours. He tapped his wristband again. Every door in the dome locked tighter. Every exit sealed. Every corridor filled with human soldiers. You are not leaving, Ren said. Until we finish what should have happened centuries ago. The alien coalition held their breath. Commander Ren lifted his eyes. Judgment. The dome's air grew heavier the moment Commander Ren said the word, judgment. Every alien leader felt it, not as a threat, but as a truth they had been running from for years. Their own plans, their own corruption, their own fear. All of it had returned like a shadow standing behind them. The dome lights dimmed to a cold silver tone, leaving harsh shadows stretched across the floor. The human soldiers did not move, yet their presence pressed on every alien heart like planetary gravity. Their armor hummed softly, syncing with the dome itself, as if the entire structure bowed to them. Ren stepped forward again, his boots echoing with frightening calm. You formed a coalition to destroy us, he said. You wrote the orders. You signed the agreements. You prepared the fleets. His voice grew harder. But none of you prepared for what happens when humanity stops holding back. Several alien leaders lowered their heads. Others clenched their fists, angry at themselves, angry at their governments, angry at how badly they miscalculated. A commander from the Drav Empire whispered, What will you do to us now? Ren didn't answer immediately. He let the question hang like a blade above their necks. Then he spoke. What happens next? He said. Depends on you. The aliens blinked in confusion. They expected death. They expected punishment. They expected annihilation. But Ren's eyes reflected something colder and heavier than all of those, responsibility. He pressed a command on his wristband. Outside the dome, the entire human fleet shifted. Not forward, not backward, just one movement, perfect, synchronized, terrifying. Every alien leader in the room heard the low hum of cannons aligning. Every alien heart shook. Some even cried. The view from the dome's open ceiling was nothing short of apocalyptic. A wall of human ships, forming a ring around the dome, glowing with white energy, the kind of energy no alien empire had ever mastered. It looked like a halo made of fire, a silent reminder, if we wanted to erase you, you would already be gone. Ren raised his hand slowly. All human marine visors glowed brighter. Their weapons unfolded with soft metallic clicks. But none of them aimed at the aliens. This only made the aliens more terrified. You do not deserve our mercy, Ren said. But mercy is not something you earn. His voice softened into something more dangerous. It is something we choose. The line hit harder than any threat ever could. An alien queen wiped her eyes with trembling hands. Her voice cracked as she tried to speak. Human commander, what is it you want? Ren looked at her. Direct, steady, unshakable. Accountability. A flicker of hope appeared in some alien eyes, but it was crushed instantly by the next hologram that rose in the center of the hall. It showed the alien coalition's secret fleets, the ones hidden behind nebulas inside asteroid fields beneath planetary shields. Ren turned toward them. Stand down every ship meant to attack us. He gestured to the hologram. The ones hiding under cloak fields. The ones waiting near our border. The ones pretending to be science vessels. His voice sharpened. All of them. Deactivate. Disarm. Withdraw. Several alien leaders stared at him like he was asking for the impossible. That would cripple our empires, one whispered. It would expose us to our enemies, another said. It would show weakness, a third cried. Ren stepped closer, armor glowing. You tried to destroy our home, he said quietly. Now you will risk your comfort. No shouting, no anger, just a calm expectation that felt heavier than rage. Then Ren tapped the next hologram. This time it showed alien governors and commanders, the people responsible for ordering attacks on humans, sabotaging colonies, killing civilians. Ren's tone dropped. You will deliver these individuals to human custody. The room exploded in shock. No! That is impossible. Those are our highest leaders. You cannot demand their surrender. Ren raised a hand. Silence returned instantly. These leaders planned genocide, he said. Your laws protect them. Ours do not. He stepped closer, his shadow falling across the table. They will face justice. Real justice. Not the political games you play. One alien, old, wise, and usually fearless, spoke in a broken whisper. That means, you expect us to betray our own people. Ren looked at him with ice-cold clarity. They betrayed the galaxy first. The words stabbed every heart in the room. The betrayal wasn't just against humans. It was against the truth, against stability, against peace itself. Then Ren pressed a final control. A new hologram appeared. Earth, blue, bright, alive, not as a target, not as prey, but as a reminder of what they almost destroyed. The image zoomed in. Cities, families, children playing by the coast, old men walking in parks, young women training in defense centers, scientists researching cures, pilots training in simulators. The aliens stared. They expected Earth to be angry. They expected Earth to be militarized. They expected Earth to be hateful, fearful, burning. But Earth was alive, normal, peaceful, beautiful. The realization struck them. Humans were strong not because of their weapons, but because of what they were protecting. Ren looked at the hologram, then back at the aliens. You all feared what humanity would become, he said quietly. But you never feared what we already were. He stepped to the center of the hall. Now his voice deepened, slow, final, absolute. You will choose. He raised his hand toward the human fleet. Peace. The ships glowed in harmony. Then he lowered it. Or consequences. The ships darkened, weapons primed in silence. Ren looked at the coalition, broken, trembling, terrified. This is humanity's ultimatum. His voice was no longer calm. It carried the weight of an entire species. There will be no third option. The room froze. Every alien finally understood. They hadn't trapped humanity. Humanity had trapped them. The dome sat in choking silence after Ren's ultimatum. No leader moved. No soldier breathed. No empire dared speak. It felt like time itself had stopped, frozen between two futures. One where the galaxy lived, and one where it burned. For the first time in centuries, the alien coalition, once the universe's loudest group of arrogant rulers, sat completely powerless, staring at the one species they had underestimated the most. A small sound broke the silence. A chair creaked. An alien leader, old and scaled like ancient stone, slowly stood. His eyes were tired, tired of lies, tired of fear, tired of pretending to be powerful. We were fools, he whispered. We called humans weak because we feared how strong they might become. The dome amplified his voice even though he spoke softly. And today, his head lowered. We saw what humanity truly is. Another leader. This one metallic-skinned, always proud, always loud, stood next. His fist shook. We lied to our own people. We manipulated reports. We hid evidence that humans saved our colonies more times than we admitted. He looked at Ren with trembling eyes. Why didn't you expose us earlier? Ren's answer was a quiet thunder. Because we believed you would correct your mistakes yourselves. He paused. You didn't. That truth, simple, sharp, landed like a blade in every heart. Suddenly, the coalition members began fighting among themselves. Not physically, emotionally, politically, violently. You started Operation Last Sunrise. You pushed us into war. You forged the documents. You lied about human weapons. You stole human technology and blamed them. You told us humans planned to invade. You lied. You knew humans saved our refugees, but you hid the report. You tricked our empire into joining this alliance. We never wanted war. You forced us. Voices overlapped like storms colliding. Empires blamed each other. Generals blamed rulers. Rulers blamed advisors. Advisors blamed spies. Spies blamed false intel. The coalition, the giant, proud coalition, was collapsing like a dying star under its own gravity of guilt. Ren watched silently, not with joy, not with hatred, but with an ancient tiredness, like humanity had carried this burden far too long. Finally, one alien slammed his hands on the table, tears spilling from 4 eyes. "Stop! All of you, stop!" He pointed to the hologram of Earth still glowing softly in the air. "Do you see that world?" he said, voice shaking. "Millions of innocent lives, families, children. That is what we almost destroyed." No one argued. The room shook with a silent, collective regret. For centuries, alien empires taught their citizens that humans were unstable monsters, unpredictable beasts, dangerous anomalies in the galaxy. But now they were watching the real monster, themselves. An alien empress, dressed in shimmering royal armor, stood next. Her voice trembled with something no one had seen from her before, fear mixed with shame. "Human commander, we were told lies. We were told Earth was preparing to wipe us out. We believed the propaganda because it was easier than facing the truth." She lowered her head. "We feared you because you did not fear us." Another leader, a cold strategist from a species known for cruelty, whispered, "And in our fear, we became the very evil we accused humanity of being." The entire hall felt that line, deeply, because fear is easy, responsibility is not. One alien general collapsed into his seat, claws shaking. "What will our people say when they learn the truth?" Ren finally spoke. "They will say their leaders betrayed peace." A pause. "They will say humanity showed them mercy when they did not deserve it." A deeper pause. "And they will learn that fear is not an excuse." The general covered his face. "Our empires will fracture." Ren nodded. "Maybe they need to." His voice was steel. "A future built on lies collapses eventually." The hall dimmed. The weight of his words rippled through the room. Then something no one expected happened. One alien, an elder priest-like figure, fell from his seat and bowed to Ren. Not in worship, not in fear, in apology. The gesture sent a shock through the entire chamber. He pressed his forehead to the cold metal floor. "Our people lived because humans defended the rim from pirates. We hid that truth. We owe you more than we can repay." Another bowed. Then another. Then another. Whole patches of the room followed, leaders, commanders, diplomats. Not all, but many. They weren't bowing to humans as rulers. They were bowing to truth. Ren didn't move. He didn't take pride. He didn't take advantage. He simply watched with the eyes of a commander who had seen too much death to enjoy surrender. Finally, the Vrax Prime, the one who once boasted about wiping humans out first, stood up slowly. His usually terrifying voice was a shadow of itself. "We lost today," he said quietly. "Not because humans defeated us," he looked around the room, "but because our hatred defeated us long before they arrived." Silence. Painful. Heavy. Absolute. The coalition was broken. Not by weapons. Not by fleets. But by truth. And the truth had claws sharper than any blade. His final words shook the room. Humanity did not break our alliance. Humanity revealed it was already broken. Ren stepped forward. Every marine behind him straightened. Every alien froze. "The galaxy will not be shaped by fear anymore," he said. His tone carried the weight of 1,000 generations. "It will be shaped by those brave enough to face their own failures." The alien coalition stared at him. Afraid, ashamed, understanding something they never expected. Humans weren't the monsters. They were the mirror. And today, that mirror showed the galaxy its ugliest truth. The dome felt like a wounded heart, beating slow and heavy beneath layers of regret. Not one alien leader dared to lift their eyes. Not after everything they had seen. Not after everything humanity had revealed. The coalition, once arrogant, loud, and united, now sat shattered like glass under a silent sky. For the first time in galactic history, every empire realized the truth. They were not facing a weak species they could eliminate. They were facing a civilization they had failed to understand. Commander Ren stood at the center, his soldiers behind him like an unbreakable wall. The dome lights flickered gently above, reflecting off human armor like shards of starlight. But Ren's voice, when it finally broke the silence, wasn't full of anger or pride or triumph. It was full of something far more dangerous. Finality. "It ends here," Ren said quietly. The words echoed, sharp as cold metal. They weren't loud. They didn't need to be. Every alien felt them in their bones. "You plan to destroy us. You plan to wipe out Earth. You plan to remove our children, our families, our future." His jaw tightened as he looked around the hall. But humanity does not answer betrayal with extinction. A collective breath shook the room. Ren continued, voice steady and painfully honest. "We are not here to make you kneel." He lifted his wrist slightly, and the dome responded, barriers lowering, weapons retracting, alarms fading. "We are here to make you choose." The aliens stared, confused. Choose? They expected humans to choose for them, to dictate, to punish, to control. But humanity wasn't enslaving them. Humanity was giving them a moment to reclaim themselves. Ren touched a command on his wristband. The hologram above the table changed again, this time showing two paths. On the left, flames, war, broken worlds, extinction-level battles that no species could survive intact. On the right, a galaxy rebuilt, borders respected, leaders held accountable, peace enforced not by fear but by truth. Ren pointed to the first path. "This is the future you created." Then he pointed to the second. "This is the future you can still save." The aliens trembled. Then Ren spoke the ultimatum, soft, final, unbreakable. "You will dissolve the coalition today, disband your war fleets, hand over the leaders who planned human extinction, and every operation meant to harm Earth. Or." The dome lights dimmed, shadows crawling over the floor. "We will not stop your self-destruction. The galaxy will fall by your own hands." The hall went dead silent. For a moment, no one dared breathe. Then the first leader stood. It was the Empress with the shimmering armor, the one who had spoken earlier with a trembling voice. She stepped forward, lowering her weapon, lowering her crown, lowering her pride. "My empire chooses the second path," she said. "We accept responsibility. We dissolve our fleets." Her voice cracked. "We will surrender those who planned this war." Her declaration rippled across the hall. A second leader rose. "My empire chooses peace." The third, "We accept accountability." A fourth, "We will face judgment." One by one, every leader stood slowly, painfully, but honestly. Even the most arrogant races, even the most militaristic empires, even the ones who hated humans the most. Their voices trembled, but they stood, because for the first time, they were choosing peace not out of fear, but out of understanding. But one figure remained seated. The Vrax Prime, the loudest, the strongest, the one who had pushed hardest for human extinction. He didn't stand. He didn't bow. He didn't apologize. Ren walked toward him, boots echoing like a judge's gavel. "Your empire must choose," he said. The Vrax Prime looked up slowly, his crimson eyes filled with a mixture of defiance and despair. "Humans," he whispered, "you do not understand our culture. We do not surrender. We do not bow. We do not accept defeat." Ren leaned in close, his shadow falling over the alien leader. "You don't have to accept defeat," Ren said softly. "Accept truth." The Prime froze, because truth was harder than surrender. Truth meant admitting they were wrong. Truth meant facing the past they had built on hatred. Truth meant stepping into a future where strength came from honesty, not brutality. Slowly, very slowly, the Vrax Prime rose from his seat. Not in pride, not in arrogance, in acceptance. His voice was barely a whisper. "My empire chooses peace." A deep, trembling silence expanded through the dome. It was done. The coalition had collapsed. The trap had reversed. The galaxy had changed. Ren stepped back to the center. The human soldiers parted, forming a path behind him. Then Ren gave the final order. The order that would be written in future history books, remembered for generations. Open the doors. For the first time since the meeting began, the dome unlocked. The metal walls shifted apart. The massive entrance slowly lifted with a thunderous roar. Blinding light poured in. Outside, the human fleet powered down. Weapons dimmed. Engines softened. The sky cleared. The aliens stared at the path leading out of the dome. A path that looked impossibly long and impossibly bright. Ren spoke the final line, the line that would echo through the galaxy forever. Go home. Tell your people what happened here. Tell them humanity chose peace, even when offered war. Tell them we do not want your empires. We do not want your worlds. We do not want your fear. He paused. But if you ever try this again, his eyes hardened, voice turning into cold steel. We will not bring soldiers. We will bring the fleet. The alien leaders swallowed hard. Not one dared challenge him. Then Ren turned around and began walking toward the exit, his soldiers moving with him in perfect formation. Their armor glowed softly, no longer weapons, just reminders of what had almost happened. The aliens parted like water, clearing the path for the humans as they walked out of the dome, and no shouts, no threats, no triumph. Just silence. A reverent, holy silence reserved for legends. Because the galaxy had witnessed something impossible today. Humanity walked into a trap, and walked out as the one species the galaxy could never again afford to underestimate. The dome doors closed behind them with a final echo. Not like an ending, but like the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter written in truth. A chapter saved by humanity. A chapter protected by the species that didn't want power, only respect. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy understood something profound. Humans weren't the threat. Humans were the balance. The peace treaty began as a trap, but it ended as a warning. A warning the galaxy would never forget.